Okay, I guess I am gonna talk about it. I wasn't planning on it, but like, it's now or never, I guess. The Paul Mayweather fight. It was stupid. I watched it. I watched the Chad Johnson fight, and then there was two actual boxing matches in between, the Chad Johnson fight and then the Mayweather versus Paul fight. Uh, I didn't really watch the two fights in the middle, even though they were actually real boxing, which is gonna make me sound like a hypocrite. But that's because the soccer game was going on at the time, right? And then you had this funny tweet from Arturo. There were more punches in the Mexico USA game, which actually true. Actually, it was much more violent. It was like, I'm not even kidding. I'm not. It's not. I don't even mean that as a joke to like shit on Paul and Mayweather. Like the soccer game was so much more violent. Uh, I don't know. You got the memes. People were making jokes about hugging. You know, they were hugging a lot. I mean, it's obvious what happened though, right? Like in retrospect, I'm not gonna be like, I knew this was gonna happen. I thought what really was gonna happen. Let me see. Let me open a tab here and see if I can find a clip of what Floyd Mayweather did in his last fight, his last exhibition, but his last fight. He got a bunch of money to go to Japan and fight a really talented kickboxer named Tenshin Nasukawa. And Nasukawa, that's how you spell it. Yep. I want to see if I can get like a video of it that isn't gonna get me my YouTube channel taken down. Regardless, you can find it on there. You can find, if you Google it, Floyd Mayweather Tenshin Asakawa, you can find it. The fight's literally like, it doesn't go past the first round. He beats this dude up and leaves him crying on the ground. Now, the important context of that fight was that Floyd Mayweather fights, you know, anywhere from like 140-ish to 150-ish, somewhere in that range, right, at this point of his career. Tenshin Nasukawa, as a kickboxer, I think is fighting in like the 120s. But like, he's much smaller than Floyd. So that fight was like really stupid in a lot of ways. Like, you're going to put a guy who, while a very talented combat sports athlete, Tenshin Nasukawa, let me see. Damn, he's still only 22 years old, and that fight was like 2 years ago. Tenshin is 5'4". Jesus Christ, I didn't realize. Oh God, why did they let him fight? He's 41-0 as a kickboxer, right? So like, he's 105-5 as an amateur kickboxer, and he's 4-0 in MMA. Like, this is a talented dude, right? I don't want to shit on him. But yeah, imagine, like, in MMA, he's fought as a flyweight, which, at least in the UFC, flyweight is 125 or under. 125 pounds, right? So this is a small-ass dude. And he fought Floyd, who was, like, bigger than him. And Floyd is, like, even at, like, 42, I believe Floyd was at the time, Floyd's bigger than him. Floyd's bigger, and he still has the great boxing technique and all that shit, right? So there's only so much, like, hate you can have. There's a lot of good memes on the subject. And you got your money's worth, right? Floyd goes in there and just knocks out the dude. Even if like Tenshin Nasukawa, I don't know Japanese culture or like society how they view Tenshin Nasukawa, but I don't think they view him the same way we as a country view Logan Paul, as like a shithead who records himself hanging out with dead people in Japan, suicide victims in Japan, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. So it's a different thing, but it's very clear what happened here is that, at least after like the second or third round, whatever, at some point, Logan Paul realized he wasn't gonna be able to hit Floyd. And so anytime Floyd got close enough, he used his like much bigger length and distance to just close it down immediately, right? And just started hugging, which is where you get all these great jokes about how much they hugged. And it, you know, they hugged a lot. The fight sucked. Floyd couldn't knock him out. I think, here's the thing. So the reason I'm doing this video is because I read a tweet from a comedian. He was just making a joke, but he's like, yo, you should have known. There was a joke involved, right? He wasn't being serious, but the joke was like, you guys should have known, like, on his whole career that this is what Floyd does. But my perspective was like his last two exhibition bouts, did the Conor fight end up counting? I don't remember if the Conor fight ended up counting as an official fight. Did it or no? I actually don't remember anymore. I'm sorry. Conor McGregor. I'll see if it counts as like an official boxing thing. I think it did, right? Like they got officially licensed, and so it was actually like an official. Yeah, it was an official boxing match. But it's still kind of like a shit show, right? Floyd's last three fights were all not real boxing, right? Like they're actually boxing, but it's not actually boxing. He's not fighting real competitors. So he did that to Conor, where he stopped him, and it was a little. He let Conor go for a little bit, let Conor gas himself out, and I think there's probably a part of Floyd where like wanted the show to go a certain distance, but also whatever you think of Conor does hit hard, right? I know it's a different sport, different gloves, all that shit, but Conor's got power, so I'm sure it was partly out of respect or whatever, but he stopped Conor. Like, there's no argument about that. He stopped Conor, and then he comes back a few years later, fights Tenshin Asakawa in Japan, and stops him. Now, the big difference between Tenshin and Conor and Logan is that Conor, I believe, weighed in the same of whatever weight that was, weighed in the same as Floyd, and Tenshin weighed way less. This one was a freak show because Logan is way fucking bigger than Floyd. So part of it problem was like, he was able to take the punch better than I think a lot of people did. And people are going to be like, yo, Floyd was never really a power puncher. Like, okay, but he still had knockouts, and he's still a boxer. Like, it's one thing when you're not a power puncher amongst boxers, and when you're just not a power puncher. Like, and when you just like it's one thing if you can't knock out a bunch of boxers. Like, Floyd can still knock you the fuck out if he gets a clean shot in your jaw. Like, I promise you. Don't worry about that. Don't think about it too hard. He can, right? So this was all like it's kind of shitty. It sucked, man. It was all stupid. I don't know. It was bad. I watched it. But if the police ask, I paid for it. But if they don't ask, I didn't pay for it. So I can't be too angry, right? But I would be angry if I had paid for it or gone to somebody's house who was like, yo, I'm streaming it, and like, the way you guys do with friends where you give each other a couple bucks or you bring some food and you split the bill or whatever, whatever the price of the pay-per-view was. I probably would have been disappointed if that was the case, a little bit, just because like I truly thought Floyd would be able to knock him out, and instead you got a shitty thing where they just hugged a lot and there wasn't a lot of punches landed in the fight. He caught him a couple times, right? I'm not gonna be total hater. Like, he caught him a couple times. Like, there's a couple times when Logan was trying to come in for a little grapple. Let me bring this here. This is a clean shot right here. He catches him clean. Like, he gets some good shots on him, but it sucked, man. It was fucking stupid. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. And they all made a bunch of money, and everyone who paid for it is kind of a loser unless you had a good time, in which case I guess you're a winner. But yeah, it was. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it was stupid. It was stupid. I think that means I'm done with the video. Shout out to Chad Johnson, though. That was kind of cool because it was at least more appropriate. Like, they were similar sizes, and it's a guy who has combat sports experience in mixed martial arts and bare knuckle, and I think a little bit of boxing. I don't know but bare knuckle is in a way. It's not quite boxing, but I've watched some bare knuckle. Like, there's a little bit more clinching and stuff like that. You can kind of do like because they don't have the gloves, they can do a little bit of clinching and like Muay Thai grabs on the back of the head and shit, but it's a different thing. And I want to be clear, I'm not a boxing expert. Like, I'm not an expert of shit, but I feel more comfortable talking about MMA and like basketball and soccer in a way that like I kind of understand what's happening much more than boxing, but still, like, we kind of understand what happened. It was a stupid shit show. Like, that's why weight classes exist. We figured that, like, the size difference would make it a little more competitive, but Floyd would still get the knockout. That's what I thought, but whatever. Listen, like, is it good that this happened? I don't know, but it's okay that like stupid shit exists sometimes. Like, I like watching reality TV sometimes. I'm not going to tell you which ones, but if you ask me, I'll tell you. And like, it's not that I think those things are good for society, but it's okay to enjoy things. You don't want to be blunted to everything and like never know what's happening in life because you're just always ingrained in stupid shit, which I think happens to a lot of sports journalists, which is one of the things I hate the most about the profession. But not that that's my profession, just from viewing those people have like nothing to say about life and have only opinions about sports, and I think that's kind of pathetic, but whatever. It was fun. It was stupid. The spectacle was fun. The actual fight sucked. The fight sucked, but the spectacle. But shout out to Chad Johnson. It seems like he enjoyed himself and he got to do something cool and probably made a decent amount of money for it. So that's awesome. Yeah, that's it. I'm shocked I made this video, but I did, and I'm gonna stop now. I was trying to stop before 10 minutes. I can't shut the fuck up. That's why this video is so fucking long. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have talked for 10 minutes about a fight that was, what was it, 3 8-minute rounds? Or no, 8 3-minute rounds. So, I didn't go that long compared to that fight, but hopefully this is more entertaining than the fight. But whatever. All right, bye. I'm out. Bye.